Welcome to My Money Mindset podcast, where we explore how a healthy mindset is the foundation for financial success. Each week, we delve into mindset hacks and practical strategies to help you enhance your income, help you make more appropriate investments for yourself, and to improve your overall financial well-being. Join us on this journey to transform your financial future by transforming your mindset. Please note that the information provided on this podcast is for general information purposes only and does not constitute as personal, financial or health advice. It has been prepared without considering your individual objectives, financial situation or life needs. Before making any financial or health decisions, you should consult with a qualified professional or financial advisor to ensure the information aligns with your specific circumstances. So let's begin and enjoy this journey as each episode teaches us on how to improve our overall mindset that overall improves our financial success. Just a quick episode in regards to people thinking about putting a 5% deposit on a property. What is the benefits of only putting 5%? I'd always recommend putting a 10% or more if you can, depending on the property. Is it an investment property where all the fees and all the costings can be tax deductible, that sort of thing? Make sure that if it's an owner occupied, why? If it makes sense just to do 5% financially makes sense. The things you've got to look out for is if it doesn't make sense financially because the costs are too high, because there's a lot of lender's mortgage insurance, which is insurance that protects the lender, not the borrower, that sort of thing. The borrower still has to pay it, and that can be astronomical. Double check what that looks like as in figure-wise. Normally, 9 times out of 10, the more that you have to borrow, the higher the interest rate. So if this is all for your owner-occupied property, you really want to make sure that the repayments or the expected repayments are somewhat respectable and you actually can afford them. And how does it compare to just owning not owning a property and renting for now and saving a little bit more? If you think you've got to move and you've got to buy something, I would always recommend to make sure that you do some sums around what it costs you to save more. So if it meant that you had to rent for another year and continue saving, what those savings would look like per week. So if you could only save $200 per week, then it's only going to equate to roughly $1,000 per annum, and then you're not going to really have that much savings. But if it means that you're going to be able to save quite an astronomical amount, and pressure test the savings in a way that if you can cut down on living expenses and everything like that, do so. Does it make financial sense? Yes. So if you're able to save an additional $10,000, depending on the price of what you're buying, then that may make a difference to the interest rate of when you do buy. Those of you that are scared that the prices of the property are going to go up in accordance, yes, something to look out for. If it means that a property is going to go from $500,000 up to $540,000, or you're expecting the expectations to be somewhere thereabouts for it to go up 40, 50 grand a year, then you've got to save the deposit amount or percentage for that in accordance. So if it goes up 50,000 or anticipate 50,000 that it does go up in a year, you would have to come up with the 5% or 10% of that additional, right? So if it was 50,000, then let's call it 10%, it's 5,000. So you can be chasing your tail. So make sure you pressure test that. Best way to do that, get your broker on board or your accountant and ask them what are the rates, the interest rates, the repayments. Make sure that those repayments make sense. If it's an investment property and those repayments do make sense and it's tax deductible, nothing wrong with it if you can get away with it, and nothing wrong with it, especially if you think that a suburb or that property is going to go up in value simply because the area is going gangbusters, or you think, hey, I can put some sweat equity into this and flip it and make extra money. That's even another good strategy. So yes, is 5% okay? In some instances, yes. As I always say, 10% plus costs or stamp duties or whatever is always probably where I feel more comfortable, simply because I'm sort of trying to balance the fact that I can get a little bit cheaper interest rates. The holding costs of the property in the interest rate section is not going to be as high. And yes, it is tax deductible, but I don't want to always worry about gearing it on tax. There's got to be a balancing point. Obviously, ask your accountant for your specific situation, and then also make sure that everything makes sense in accordance to, you're not overstretching yourself with the loan, and it's where you want to be going with your goals. Hope it helps, guys.
Admitting that you're wrong in a relationship can often be a difficult task for some people, especially when they have a lot of pride that's involved in the relationship. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing when you find it hard to admit that you're wrong, or you find out that you feel as though what you said or did was a wrong feeling, or there are, regrets that you have done so. So why is it hard for people to sort of say that they're sorry? Quite often it's pride. Quite often they fear what's going to happen afterwards. They let their guard down, and now they feel vulnerable. Vulnerability is a good thing, guys. Don't always anticipate or feel as though, your vulnerability is going to get you into a worse situation. Honesty is probably the ultimate key to relationship success. And admitting when you feel that you're bad, or you feel you're regretful, or you want to be able to, take back what you said or did, is the first signs of being honest. And honesty can often be confused with vulnerability. If I'm honest, then, I'm opening up myself to, copping it, being told that I shouldn't have done that, and opening up a whole new can of worms, or having it thrown back in your face later on. If that's the case, I'd rather be honest and have those discussions later on, and then work out what it is that you can do to help the relationship move forward and not have to go through so many issues. It always takes the first step of being honest. Now, whether or not you're the pioneer of honesty in the relationship, or you're both trying to be honest with each other in a relationship, it is definitely the key to be honest and not to worry about being able to apologize and say to your partner, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, bullying is still quite prominent in today's society, and it's not just with students or at school. It's within adulthood and between family members. Unfortunately, it still is very prominent within neighbourhoods, between neighbours. A lot of people do live in fear. They seem to put themselves in a situation where they fear for their safety. They fear that, being bullying, it's just an escalating, and it just gets worse. It's a snowball effect within their own mind, and it can often affect those in many different ways. Now, without having to go into detail of all the many different ways it can affect you and how many different forms of bullying there are, it's more so what I'd like to just address quickly is the fact that those of you who are getting bullied, and those of you who are feeling intimidated or even slightly intimidated, it all leads to larger issues down the track if you do not jump onto it and start to form a barrier towards that fear of bullying. It's probably not so much the bullying that's affecting you even after years to come. It's the fear of being bullying and the intimidation that you receive upon the bullying. So just quickly, understand that it's not your fault. Number one, it's never anyone's fault for anything. A lot of people do argue to say, well, physically get out of there, or don't allow yourself to be bullied. Protect yourself. There are so many different forms of protection, whether it be physical protection or cyber protection, that sort of thing, social protection. What you've got to understand is it's not your fault, and there are ways of getting around it. The most effective way of getting around it is literally avoiding it. And if you can't avoid it, make sure that anything that does affect you and the people around you support you in the fact that it is something that, you know, is affecting you as a person. Don't clam up. Worst thing you can do is clam up or run away. Speak to people, speak to authorities. And there are authorities that deal with this every day, and they deal with it very swiftly. So make sure you report to the authorities. Make sure that if you are thinking that you're in a situation where you're being bullied, then you'd speak to the family and friends, the closest ones around you, get the advice, speak to the authorities, and get the support you need. There is nothing worse than feeling bullied at any stage of your life.